Hey everybody, it's Professor Stines, and today we're going to go through assignment 9. This is going to introduce PHP and kind of get us started in using PHP. We've kind of used this whole product order concept before, so hopefully it shouldn't be too bad. So I'm going to come to my XAMPP panel and go ahead and start it on up. And I'm going to look into the htdocs folder. You can kind of see I've already made one, but I'm going to go ahead and create another folder for the second time here, and that's going to be Stines Allen assign 9, and hit go. Now inside this page is where I kind of want to make my PHP file. PHP is basically a text file with a certain extension on the end, so I'm just going to call it index.php, kind of stand for my home page. Get it kind of opened in Notepad++. And basically a PHP page is an HTML page. So I'm going to kind of start it up by putting, kind of a basic HTML kind of framework in here. That way we can at least see that it's working. So opening and closing HTML tag with an opening and closing head tag, title tag for assignment 9, and a body tag. There we go. So if everything works pretty well, I should kind of be able to come over here and go to localhost / Stines Allen assign 9 / index.php. That's kind of where it was from before. So if I come out here, oh, I'm missing a closing title tag. It's like, why doesn't it show closing title tag? Should make it work a little bit better. That's good. So I can kind of pull my page up, and I'm working in XAMPP, and kind of see it like a regular web page, index.php. In last week's assignment, when we first kind of introduced XAMPP, I went ahead and did the hello world statement for PHP, and that's kind of what this is right here. I'm going to echo out hello, and so that's kind of where the text in the page is coming from. If I kind of can look at the source code, kind of see I didn't put any tags around it. You don't see the echo statements or anything, but that's kind of how we know it's being used. So that's kind of my hello world statement. I'm going to go back and look at assignment 9. Basically what we need to do is we need to kind of create variables that kind of touch all those kind of things. So I'm going to kind of slide this guy over a little bit and slide this one over here a little bit. That way I can kind of see them both at the same time. So I'm going to kind of start off by making a product. We call it candy bar. And I'm going to make a quantity for it. And right now I'm going to say 2. And a unit price. And we'll go with $2. And we need a discount rate. And I'm going to say that's 25%. And we're going to make a date for this guy. So I'm going to call it my date. And not really a good answer to this, but W3 Schools has kind of a good way of showing date formats. And so I'm kind of going to be looking at the different ways of getting a date, and that's kind of what's going on here. So we're kind of showing you different ways of getting a date. And if you kind of throw a 1 at it, you get the day of the week, or you can kind of throw these little format things at it and get different types of formats. So that's essentially what I want to do, is I kind of want to get this ISO 8601 format. So probably shouldn't copy and paste it, but I'm going to do that here. You can type it out yourself though. And we're basically pulling the year with a dash, then the month, then a dash, and then the date. And that's basically what's going on. So I got a date. I'm going to make me a first name. I hadn't figured out by now that the $sign at the beginning of the PHP command is kind of what's denoting it as a variable. So I got a first name and I need a last name. And it's Darth Vader. He's going to have a payment type. And it's going to be Visa. And the card number, it's equal to 1, 2, 3, 4 to 16. And a security code of 1, 2, and 3. So, kind of gotten through part one. It's just kind of to define the variables and kind of give them a value. And then in part two, we're going to kind of go through and make kind of like a receipt of sorts, I suppose. So that's kind of what we're going to go for, is we're going to kind of make that kind of format. Kind of notice that we're going to be calculating the order total, just kind of like we did in JavaScript. We're going to be doing that again. And then credit card number, we're going to put do a little magic to it so that most of the card number is hidden and then only the last four numbers show. So basically what I want to do with these is I kind of want to make a table for them. So kind of like we did in JavaScript last week when we were dealing with XML, I'm going to kind of do something kind of similar to here. So I'm going to kind of make a string for my HTML, leave it kind of blank, or well, I guess I could go ahead and put my opening table tag. Hold on one sec. Okay, sorry. Trying to record a video. I think I paused it. I'm not really sure. Anyway, hopefully that'll be okay. So I'm gonna keep going. Hopefully video is still recording. Looks like it is anyway. So I'm kind of making an opening and a closing table tag. And what I want to do is I want to kind of echo that guy out. So that's going to be str HTML. Echo that back onto the page. So you can kind of see that it's showing up here. That's my closing, opening a table tag. I can't really tell it in the page, but it's getting there. The period is kind of like the plus sign was in JavaScript. So it's kind of adding what was in the string before with the closing table tag. So that's kind of the format that I'm going to end up using to make my table work. So each table kind of has a table row, and each table row has a header and has a cell with it as well. I'll kind of type that all out at once and copy it so that when I'm looking over at my code, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different rows I kind of need to have in my table. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Let's see, I'm going to pull that back a little bit so I can kind of see them both at the same time. Yeah, that's good. So I'm going to have a name, and I'm going to have a product, and we have a price on it, and it's going to have a discount rate. Hopefully everybody knows the difference between discounted and discount rate. And I'm going to go with a total amount. And there's going to be a date attached to it. And we're going to have a payment info kind of section. So that's kind of the four pieces we need. We kind of look at the name. The name is going to be the first name plus the last name. There's kind of a couple different ways to do it. So I'm going to show you two. And so I'm going to put the name in here twice just to kind of show you the difference. Is that right now the whole thing is like a string, but in PHP what I can kind of do is I can kind of just insert my variable names in it, and kind of like this. And so if I kind of do that, and in JavaScript we would have had to break this up with more quotation marks. Well, I say it was going to work, but then I guess it didn't. Oh, because I'm not, silly me. I'm adding to the string each time. So I need to make sure I'm got all my periods in the right spot. There we go. That's better. So I kind of got a Darth and I got a Vader. That's kind of the first way I did it. And kind of we're building the string here. What this guy is doing is just kind of formatting it in the middle. You could also kind of do it the other way, which would be to, this is kind of a more traditional sort of way, is I would kind of build it out and build the string like this. Let's see, it's going to be a little bit big. Goes down the screen a little too far. Equivocally, they're kind of the same. They're both going to do the same deal. This one is a slightly less lines, but it gets kind of confusing between the two. This is probably what you're more likely to see, even though this is possible. So I would probably suggest trying to do it sort of this way, but I think it's important that you know that at least it can be done multiple ways. I'm just going to comment it out for right now. So a double slash in PHP is a comment, or a one-line comment anyway. So I'm just going to comment out the first time we did it and stick with it that way. So I kind of need to go and add product, unit price, and discount rate. Those are all pretty straightforward. So that's going to be products, unit price, and discount rates. And since those are kind of dollar amounts, I'm going to put a dollar on the front. Or, well, this one is a percentage, so put percentage on the end. And unit price is a dollar amount. Too bad we don't put the quantity in there. Quantity is going to be needed for the order total amount. So I'm gonna save this guy though and just make sure I'm still on track. As I got Darth Vader, price $2, discount rate of 25%. So it looks pretty good for me so far. What I'm going to do for the order total though is I'm going to kind of define a function, and I'm going to kind of call it get total, and it's going to return the total amount, which I'm just going to call 0 for right now. The reason kind of being is that I want to show how JavaScript and PHP are different. So if I try to, well, var is not going to work in PHP for one, but if I wanted to say something to the effect of return unit price, what I'm doing is I'm kind of seeing if this function in JavaScript, this function could reference kind of this variable. But we're going to find that JavaScript doesn't really do it that way. So this is get total. And if I kind of do that, it's going to throw up this error. And man, if you thought errors were not very helpful before, this is what PHP is basically going to do. This is kind of an error in PHP. It's pointing me to line 35, which is where the return for unit price comes, because this variable has no scope. PHP is different from JavaScript. Variables only have scope in the area in which they are defined. So these variables only have scope within here. They don't have scope inside of here. And same with functions, is anything inside this function won't have any scope on the outside of it. Big difference. A lot of languages have different rules in how they do variables, and so I just kind of wanted to do that to show that. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to pass in these guys as parameters. That way I can use them as needed. So I'm going to pass in a price. I'm going to pass in a quantity, and I'm going to pass in a discount. Yeah. So, I don't know why I keep trying to use var. So if I wanted to kind of calculate the discounted amount, that would be price minus the price multiplied by the discount rate, a disc, divided by 100. That way 25 turns to 0.25, and then I multiply against the price, and then subtract that from the original price. Lots of ways to kind of calculate a product total. So, but anyway, my total is going to be equal to the disamount multiplied by the quantity. And then I should be able to return total. So if that worked out pretty well, I'm going to go ahead and put a $sign there. I should get 3, because, lots of errors this time. Oh, yeah. Duh. Got to pass in unit price, quantity, and discounted amount. Discount rate, sorry. There we go. That might help out a lot. Hey, yeah, there we go. Okay, so the order total is 3. So $2 at 2 of them at $2 each is $4, and 25% off is $3. So I think my math is doing pretty well there. And you definitely want to go in and probably check that. So if I'm buying 2 things at $5 each and 25% off, it's 1/4 of 10. It's like what, 2.5 or something. Yeah, so that seems right. Back to 2. All right, so I've kind of gotten this far. Order date is actually kind of straightforward because we kind of pulled it from here. So I kind of just drop that guy in, and I guess technically, well, I like doing it this way, so this is how I'm going to show you to do it. Because it makes a whole lot more sense when you can kind of see variables off on their own like this. And for payment info, we kind of have a little bit or different rule here, is that we're going to try to put the card type with the credit card number, but we're going to replace the first 12 characters with a star and only show the last 4 digits of the number. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to define scramble and I'm going to pass in the card number to it. So that's kind of going to get my card number in there. I also kind of want to add my payment type. So that's going to be payment type with we're going to put a dash in the middle and scramble with the card number. And I'm going to define a second function down here called scramble. And it's going to take a CC for a credit card number. And right now I'm just going to kind of return back ACC, just so that I kind of know that my function's working. And so you can kind of bring it up to one line. Code's starting to get kind of long. At line 29, something went crazy. Let me double check and make sure I've got, missing a period there. Alright, so now I kind of got my card number with my 16-digit deal. It's kind of being run through this function, so there's probably lots of ways to change the first 12 characters to star. I'm going to show you my way, and I don't know, I guess okay, I'm not going to show you my way. I'm just going to kind of, okay, I'm going to show you my way. I'm going to make the first 12 characters stars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that gives me 12, right? So that should be like kind of 12 stars with 12 numbers. And so really all I kind of want is the last 4 off this guy. So I'm going to use what's called substring and pass -4 to it. So what that's going to kind of do is -4 is going to count backwards from the string. So it's actually going to say, because if I went forwards and said substring 1, it would choose that number, but -4 would choose the last four numbers. So hopefully, if I kind of save this guy, hit refresh, now I only have the last four numbers, and I guess I should probably be certain of that and kind of make sure that they're different. So now this time it should be 5, 6, 7, 8, and the first 12 are hidden. So let's see. Yeah, that seems to me working out pretty good. I'm not really sure if today's date is, I'm kind of pulling it automatically off of PHP, which is kind of what I wanted. I don't know if you kind of need to put this as a separate variable or not, but I think it'll be okay. Anyway, hopefully this kind of gets you started in PHP, and it's pretty similar to JavaScript. Most languages are kind of similar in a way, but they all kind of have their own syntax styles. So $signs in PHP kind of denote that that's a variable, and it's kind of understood that it's going to choose the best variable type based on what I'm sending it. So I didn't really have to call these strings or numbers or date, variable types. PHP is going to kind of try to figure that out on its own. But anyway, hope you enjoyed it and have fun playing with PHP. Have a good one. Bye.